we talk to a lot of builders because they come to us and something stands out. They go, I've got to look into this whole story thing. But it's like this big myth.
Yeah. Like what is story? What the, why do I need to go here? What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because they're building.
Yeah.
They're doing what they're doing. They're running their business.
Yeah.
But then they're seeing all these builders around just like thriving in a way. And, their social media presence is like next level. Their stories getting out there. And then maybe they're thinking like they're missing out.
Yeah.
And that's not the message I want to get across. Like, I don't want to say you're missing out or anything, but I guess I wanted to bring you on this podcast to really inspire builders to look at story a different way and to see whether or not they even have a story.
Yeah. To look at the opportunity. Because like a big thing when you look at story is such a powerful thing to make the right clientele come to you, to prepare them, have them ready for the whole process. So it's something that not everyone's using. So it's definitely something that can be capitalized on for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of builders think it's this real vague thing. It is, right? It's the same as like brand. No one can really describe what a brand is. There's so many different elements.
It's like a feeling. It's like a
So I guess today just want to like go into what story is and how builders can create their unique story.
Yeah.
Because I think a big problem that I see a lot of the time is builders think they don't have a story, or their story is real bad, or people won't be interested in their story. But I want to go into a little bit more detail there.
That's
good. Before we jump in, I just want to highlight what Seth Godin says. So Seth Godin is a thought leader in this marketing space. I think he's blogged for the last, I want to say 10, 15 years, every single day. So he's a marketing genius, storyteller. And he says marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but the stories you tell. So this is massive.
That's good. And I think like to kind of start it off, one thing we got to understand is capitalizing on your why. A big reason why you use stories like the vehicle, and people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
If I say it that way. So, and that's everything from your clients to your team, everyone. They buy your why. Now, why has been thrown around so much. It's like, get clear on your why. It's all about why and selling on your why. But it is really very important, because if you understand your why, like your values, the things that drive you to do the business and the service that you do for clients, and you're super clear on that, then you can use story as a vehicle to communicate that. So why story? Well, story is, if you think about it, like, have you ever been to a conference? I'll give you an example here, where you've been to a conference and you're listening to someone very inspiring. So they get onto the stage, you've never met them before. And then suddenly they start telling you this backstory when they were young, and then this thing happened in their life. And then towards the end, they tell you their success story, and you've already like synced with them. You've already gone like, wow, like I really love this guy. I love what they stand for.
Yeah, we've spoken a few times about Yuri Hassan.
Yeah,
about
that's good.
How the storyteller and the story listener's brain can get in sync. So if you haven't already, go listen to some of those podcasts. Go find that in our bunch of podcasts.
Plain and simply, sorry to interject there, Cornay, but plain and simply, it's when the storyteller tells a story. So what they've done is they've done tests on the brain waves of the storyteller and the story listener. So the storyteller will tell a story, and the listener, when he listens, he's synchronizing his waveforms, start forming in the same way, exactly the same as the teller.
Yeah. And going back to your example of if you go to a conference and someone tells their life story, you might be thinking at that stage, why is this person doing it?
Yeah.
But then you'll find if there were multiple speakers and one used story and the other one didn't, you probably won't remember the person that just gave the raw content.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you need to know. And I think, this happened a few times when we went to like 10X in America with Grant Cardone.
Oh, 100%.
I remember there were people that just wanted to, first of all, just pitch their kind of like their business, their product. And then there were people just giving good content, but then there were the storytellers, and they were good. Like John Travolta was one.
Yeah.
How engaging was he? Like, we were at the front of our seats. He was telling this whole journey. Remember the story that he told us about how Qantas gave him a plane?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there, you're engaged. I will never forget
Loving
that
every
speech.
moment. Yeah, 100%.
We've been to how many of those conferences now? 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And there's been a fair few speakers. There are a few that I will not even remember them.
Yeah. It's probably like 80-20, like 80% really understood that they need to connect to the audience and sync with them. And then they bring in like, what's their service? What's their product? What's their business that's going to help them and serve them?
So yeah, if we take this back to builders, I think this whole conference thing is a great analogy. So if you bring it back to the builders, how does that relate to this, the speakers at the conference, for example?
I mean, in our minds, when we look at these speakers, we think, man, these guys are just amazing and they're just so good at communicating. But really what they've done is just tell a story. They knew the importance of connecting first. So how do we translate that to a builder is, well, you as a builder need to tell story. You need to communicate your story before the business stuff come in, before any of the building journey starts or the sales process, etc. Because you want to connect first. And when you're connected with someone on an emotional level, then suddenly they're a lot more invested with you.
Yeah, they open up to receive more information, like maybe the more logical, educational based information. So we're on the topic of capitalizing on your why. And I mean, I guess what I'm hearing from you is you can tell your story, or you can tell your story that really communicates your why.
Yeah.
So getting back to this, why is it so important to get clear on your why and communicate that why?
Well, the reason why it's important is because then if you know that what your why is, what your values are, what are the things driving your business, and you do tell that in a story, then you're going to have a lot better result in every different area, whether it's from attracting clients, whether it's even inspiring the team. Because you got to remember, like, team, they come on board and they're assisting you in like moving forward. And the more powerful your story is, your why is, the more invested and purpose driven they'll feel to come along on this journey.
Yeah, I think people want to be part of having some sort of impact. So is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
so
that's
the why
right.
relates to some sort of impact.
Exactly. And that's where you got to ask yourself, because a lot of times, and I've had this in my life as well, I'm like, what's my why? A lot of times in different areas, because you grow and you go different seasons. But I think it's one of those things is to debunk that myth that, I don't know what my why is, and that's just all annoying stuff to think about. Fluff. Yeah, that's it. But really, you got to go like, what is the thing that gets you up out of bed in the morning? Yeah. Like, why are you going to such a length to build, for example?
It's a lot of effort.
It's
a lot of risk.
But exactly. And that's why you've got to go, you've got to ask yourself, like, you got to ask yourself the questions, the right questions.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you getting up out of bed? Why are you going through some clients that aren't, working with you the way they should be working?
Yeah. I mean, this is a key part when clients come on board with us. We obviously go through the story development phase. Getting clear on this why is a very big part of that. And yeah, a lot of our clients might not get 100% clear on their why in this phase, but then once we've created a story and they've been through that and they've communicated it over and over again, maybe in front of the camera, and then when they listen to it, they watch the end story at the end of the day, it all clicks for them. They go, that's why.
Yeah.
And they're proud. Like so many of our clients, they'll cry, like they'll shed a tear. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just them. I think what happens is they finally go, that's my why, especially right now in my life.
Because everyone's got, I think everyone that starts a business has got a why. Sometimes it's financially, sometimes it's impact. And I think everyone's got it inside them, but sometimes they don't know how to communicate that. And that's why we found this a lot, like you said, Corne. When someone finally watches their story, they sit down and they watch it for the first time, and music playing and team. And at the end, you're like, what? This guy's crying.
Yeah.
Because you've just taken what's in them and all the hard work and their why, and you've put it into this nutshell of like a 2.5-3 minute
made it
story.
Something tangible, making something that was just in their mind. Like that's what keeps them up at night. Obviously, with all the problems that keep them up at night, but the things that they think about all the time, like how do we package this up? I think it's crucial. And the great thing with if you put that story in the form of a video, it's highly leveraged. Like Paul, one of our clients in Melbourne, says, we did a podcast with him. He said, the story is working while I sleep. So that's how you want to think about, like in business, you always want to think about how can I create something that will create a lasting effect and can, be leveraged in a way. Leverage is huge, but that's a different podcast. So yeah, that's number one. I think if you're happy, we'll go to topic number two.
Yeah.
Which is creating familiarity with ideal clients. Like, we've been practicing this for a while, unintentionally. I became aware of this when I read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, where he talks about if you want to kind of like connect with someone, a really great way to do that is to create familiarity with them. It's for them to see that, hey, we are very similar.
Yeah.
Because similar people, do things together. Maybe they become friends or they do business together and so on. So, yeah, how does story come into that?
Well, it's very much the same as the why, as just before. Creating familiarity. If you think about like the first time, like when I started dating my wife, it was like there were things that were familiar. Yeah,
like
things.
What?
I think the biggest thing was like values and beliefs. And sometimes it's not like she was sitting there going, yeah, so Andre, my values in life are this, this, and this, and this. No, it was like through conversation and her sharing stories and things that I subconsciously in my brain I was ticking off these values.
You're putting two and two together.
Yeah, and then maybe after a few dates, you're like, wow, I've just ticked off like 50 things in my mind that was subconsciously there. And now I'm like, wow, like this could be the girl,
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with clients, with your building. If you're building for clients, they are looking for someone subconsciously, they're ticking off.
Yeah.
So if you can create familiarity, and there's just all these different things, everything from what you believe as a builder, what do you value? Do you value lifestyle? Do you value creating an impact for the younger generation coming through, a sanctuary where they can be brought up in a house or home?
It's funny that you say this because we've been doing this for quite a while. Well, in our mind anyway, since 2011. And recently I've seen a lot of businesses, small businesses, might be one-man bands, I'm not sure, try and copy what we do for builders. So they claim they help builders out, and rightfully so they might be. But then, I don't look at competition too much because we're just focusing on what we're focusing on, and we're going on our journey, and we're always evolving what we do to make our clients better. So I'm not like, I'm not scared or anything, but then when I see what they create or what they try to create, it's kind of like the things they hear that we do. So they might listen to the podcast, and then they do the things, and they try and tell the story, but it's kind of like this fake story. It's like they're trying.
It's not them. It's not authentic.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Is like we all got different DNA.
Yeah.
We've all got personalities, and sometimes we just got to play with our personality. So if you've got a business personality, it's understanding that DNA. You got to understand what makes you as a business unique, just like me as a personality or you as a personality, and then take that and then authentically communicate that. I think the biggest thing and this is my earlier years of business, it was like, and when we were sort of starting out with Biz Video, it was like you wanted to put this persona forward.
Yeah.
But really,
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. And it's like, this is what I got to look like to be successful in business. And this is what is going to bring clients in. But the more and more we went on, the more and more we realized it's being authentic and communicating those values and beliefs through your marketing and your stories.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to tell your clientele or the world everything in your life. That's why you got to get very clear on like what makes you unique, like what's your why, what makes you unique, what's your story. I can tell our clients hundreds of stories of my life, but there are a few different stories that are very specific and that will be a lot better of value for them if I communicate those stories.
Yeah, stories that they'll actually relate and find value in.
100%.
So I think, that's why we always harp on like why you've got to know who your ideal clients are. And then, understand what they want and what's important to them in life, what are their values.
Yeah.
And then look at like what's important in your life that clearly relates to.
I think that's a better way of saying it, like what you're saying there.
Yeah, and it's not about faking it because, anyone can like listen to this podcast right now and then go, these are my ideal clients. They love exotic cars. They love, big boats, all this kind of stuff. And then you look at your own life and you're like, I've got no interest in that.
Yeah.
But let's just fake it. Let's create a story where I pretend like I do.
Yeah.
Now you've got a mismatch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it might be fine. You might attract those people. What's going to happen down the line when you start building for them, for example? And that's a different topic. But this is why, story can create familiarity with ideal clients. But first you have to understand who your ideal clients are and what will bring most value in terms of familiarity. So
Yes.
what are the things that you can relate with, and then make sure they know about that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you get clear on your story and you understand what you like, what you value, what they like, what they value, whether it's hobbies, and then it's being able to take and showcase that visually as well. Sometimes you don't have to communicate it by audio or by talking, but it's showing, for example, from my side, I love playing golf. And I love food. I'm a big foodie, and coffee and stuff like that. So for me, if I show that, and then someone else out there that really enjoys that, they're really going to connect because there's something that we can really talk about. And that's why as a builder, you got to make sure when communicating your story to bring in those facets, those lifestyle, those things that you really enjoy in life as well.
Yeah, and I mean, a good example of that is if you walk into a party and you don't know anyone there, you feel awkward. You're like, who do I talk to? What do I talk? And then you just bump into someone, or someone introduce, your friend, mutual friend introduces you to someone, and then you hear what sports do you play? Or what sports do you like? Or whatever. And then you say and then the person says golf, and you go, oh, absolutely, I love golf. And now you've got familiarity.
That's it.
And that's what your video and your story should be doing as well.
Exactly.
I think just hearing back what you're saying.
Exactly.
But yeah, if we move to the next topic, which is what sets you apart as a builder, how does story set you apart from other builders?
Well, number one, those that don't tell a story, you're already been set apart. You're already levels higher.
Why is that?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because now suddenly you're connecting on an emotional level where it's like those guys on stage when they come on and the guy doesn't tell you a story and they just get straight to the business stuff. And you're like, man, I don't even know who you are. What's your values? What's driving you behind all this?
Yeah, why should I listen to you?
Yeah, why should I listen to you? Where the guys that are now those coming on stage and they're telling a story and you can connect to what their story's about, their impact that they're making. Then suddenly I connect to that person. And the same with builders. If I'm a client and I'm now looking to build, whether let's say I'm looking to renovate and extend my house, and I go out and I'm looking for builders, and I just see some, just the generic sort of builders, and then I see someone that, they got a video there or really beautiful imagery that captivates me emotionally, and then I start watching it, and they grab me for 3 minutes there, and I'm watching it, and then it's got music, it's got everything, it's just evoking all that emotion in me. And then 3 minutes later, I'm like, wow, I understand this builder and his heart behind everything he's doing. I think I want to, now if I'm comparing them with the other builders that I saw, man, this guy's winning miles. But then even when it comes to contracts and estimations and stuff, if a client were to get 2 or 3 different prices and yours was the largest investment, but they connected with you the most, they're going to pick you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time people don't make decisions.
Chances are, they could still pick the lowest
100%.
lowest quote. But yeah, the chances are that, they might go with you. And I think, it's kind of like what you said before. It's almost like the subconscious, they can't put their finger on it. They're like, I've got to use this builder because what happens if I use these other builders? What will I miss out on? Because this other builder communicate they've got the same values. They understand me. Again, going back to topic number 2, familiarity. Because you as a builder have emotionally engaged them and you've created this familiarity. You're showing your values. You're showing what your interests are. This person then goes, well, I understand this person and the builder understands me. What if these other 2 builders don't understand me? Yeah, I'm looking at these 3 quotes. Yeah, they might be very similar, or the builder with the story might even be a little bit higher. That doesn't necessarily have to be that way. So we're not saying because you've got a story, just go higher. That's not what we're saying. Let's just assume all the quotes are the same. It's apples, apples to apples. You're becoming an orange. in a way. So they can't compare it. They're like, oh my goodness.
That's it. You're running your own race then. Yeah. That's really cool.
So yeah, a question I want to ask you is, obviously we get a lot of builders listening to this podcast. We get builders that are like doing really well, and they might have the budget to invest in biz video, for example. I mean, it is obviously a significant investment. Again, we could argue the value they get out of that is huge compared to the investment. But what about the builders? They might just be starting out right now. I'm not saying they can't invest in it.
Yes.
They can still have a chat with our team.
Yes.
But what are some of the things they can do to start using story in their marketing?
Yeah, that's good. The first thing is just sitting down with a piece of paper, writing out just a few things that what's your why? What's the things getting you up out of bed in the morning? Why are you going to such a length to grow this business? And then just kind of jotting down like some unique things that make you unique as a builder and as a person. And then what you do is you to make it practical, when you're on site, or when you're, let's say, looking at the whole building journey from start to finish to handover, and you kind of make little videos, let's say like Instagram videos, and every time you show something, let's say you show a team member, you put a why behind that.
That's it.
That's and good. How that impacts, and then even another level high, even deeper with another why, and how that impacts the clients that you work with.
Yeah.
Always reverting it back to them.
That's right. So if you I just want to see if I've got it correct.
Maybe if you've got an example. Yeah.
Is, let's say you are on site, because I see this a lot. I see a lot of builders just do on-site Instagram stories, and I think builders don't know this. They think they're creating it for their clients, but they're just creating it for other builders because that's stuff
it's
they
cool.
like.
They love it. It's stuff that they love.
Yeah, scaffolding. Oh man, this is cool. Or whatever.
Or the inside framing, or like the cool material.
I'm stereotyping here, but it's a bit of a joke. But
yeah,
chances are this could be true. It's like us. We love cameras. So if we see a camera,
we're
like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that person posting our story we're not their ideal client. Remember, people don't get you as a builder to be able to like look at scaffolding and go, oh man, that's some good scaffolding, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's the why behind it. So it doesn't mean you don't show it, but you have to connect a why to it. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Exactly.
So it's almost like, let's say, cool, we're waterproofing the showers here at the moment. A big reason why we go out of our way to make sure the waterproofing is 100% correct is that once the tiles are down and you go 6 months, a year after this, we want to make sure that our clients do not struggle with any leaks, which will then create more problems for them. We want our clients just to enjoy their home, enjoy the family time together. See, now it's talking about the why. So you could put this in your Instagram stories.
Yep.
And
if I asked you another why, like you said, what was that last bit you said? To enjoy
family or
and
memories.
Okay. And then if I go another why, like what's another level deeper?
Yeah, well, now you're pushing me, but what could that be, or what's an example?
I mean, it's like, well, you want them to enjoy and spend time as a family in things that matter most, so that the kids can grow up and be healthy and have a great career. I mean, that's just going off the top of my head there, but there's always that level deeper that you can go.
Yeah, you could almost like
everything.
ask the 5 whys.
Yeah,
that's a good mental model. But yeah, one way, if you just want to remember this as a builder, like you're about to like post a story or create a story, just always go and just remember this in your mind, which means. Just say those words. So say whatever you want to say, and then go, which means, and then talk about what that means to the client.
Exactly.
How does it bring it back to the client? Yeah, we've got scaffolding here. The reason why we've got here, like, is this really good for like the safety aspect. We want our team to be safe on site, which means your project will, be more likely to deliver on time because their, injuries are taken, like that's out of the equation.
Yeah.
You can now, move in on the date that you want to move in and have some good family memories again.
Yeah.
You could always probably bring it back to family.
That's it.
Yeah.
And remember, that's like the first stage. Like if that's the only thing you do, and just create those stories yourself. And then the next step would be to obviously leverage.
Yeah.
And that is to go, cool, I'm going to create a few stories or one story that I'm now going to leverage. So while I'm sleeping, like you said with Paul, while I'm sleeping, that story's out there.
Yeah.
connecting with people emotionally.
Yeah, creating the story, having some marketing campaigns with that story, leveraging it, like you said before,
Yeah.
getting hundreds, thousands of people to experience that story ongoing. So that's what you want to do.
Just planting seeds.
Planting seeds all day long.
Yeah.